Peter Zumthor was born on April 26, 1943 in Basel, Switzerland. His ability to create presence in his work to design mood can be compared to monumentalism, such as in the work of Louis Kahn. Three of Zumthor's works that gives us an example of his technique, creativity, and execution are the Bruder Klaus Field Chapel in Germany, the Columba Museum, also in Germany, and the thermal baths at Valls, located in Switzerland. In these works, structure and materials come together to create mood. The Bruder Klaus Field Chapel started as a sketch, commissioned in 2007 by local farmers in Waschendorf, Germany, to honor their patron saint of peace, Bruno Klaus of the 15th century. The immediate sensation of spirituality is guided through the detailed construction techniques and an understanding of the meaning that lay beyond the structure. Zumthor says, in order to design with a sensuous connection to life, one must think in a way that goes far beyond form and construction. The method of construction consisted of beginning with a wigwam, a simple wooden structure made of 112 tree trunks. The frame was constructed with an oculus, a circular opening at the top. Once the frame was completed, layers of concrete were poured using a method known as rammed concrete. This is when concrete is poured over an existing structure and rammed together. 20-inch layers were poured every day for 24 days in order to give the concrete its striations. The wigwam was burned inside the structure, leaving the charred black walls of the now hollowed-out concrete structure. The rectangular structure is punctured by a triangular passage. What was a smooth and bright exterior is now a textured and dim interior. You are moved through the space naturally by the construction. A narrow space leads to a cavernous room where your vision is pulled up to the oculus by the lines created by the burned-out logs. The floor, made of frozen molten lead, balances the unique roofing surface of the interior. The opening at the top connects you with nature and your surroundings by letting in weather conditions. On a sunny day, the light from the sun refers to Bruder Klaus' vision of being in the womb and the flare of a star. The witnessing of one's birth represents the comfort and safety of a worship place and the discovery of spiritual enlightenment. Zumthor conveys this mood using the environment in conjunction with function. On a rainy day, the drops fall in, and you are pulled into the stars at night. In his book Atmospheres, Zumthor describes the tension between interior and exterior. The exterior facade is a means to symbolize the meaning beyond structure and is also aesthetically pleasing. Zumthor also uses the interior as a separate opportunity, all the while considering what a person outside looking in will experience and what a person on the inside looking out feels. Doing this, he accomplishes setting up a tension between the two and taking you through a range of emotions, constructing moods. This quality allows you to take the truly spiritual experience the chapel invokes. Many other considerations go into design, and as muses differ, so must technique. Cologne, Germany was a city that was almost completely destroyed in World War II. The Columba Museum houses the Archdiocese art collection that spans more than 1,000 years. The museum is a reconstruction of an old Gothic cathedral in the German architect Gottfried Baum's 1950 chapel of the Madonnas of the Room. Zumthor says the project was a building that started from the inside out, with the art and the meaning of art, the spirituality of it all, and how it makes you think and feel, things he found appreciation for while experiencing the diocese art of all ages. Zumthor did not want to make a building about marketing the city or the museum, not to build something just to draw people to it. For example, the Balboa effect. Zumthor wanted to solve the problem of how to create something that relayed the history of Columba and the meaning of the art respectfully. The museum was constructed of bricks specially handmade by Peter Santiago of Denmark. The bricks were fired in charcoal to imbue a warm hue. The gray brick provides the ties between the old cathedral and the chapel of the Madonnas. Perforations in the brick's facade serves as a poetic detail and also allows diffused light into specific spaces of the museum. The museum has 16 exhibition rooms, and at the heart of the building, a garden courtyard meant for tranquility and reflection. The windows of the museum look to the Madonnas, who are all smiling according to Zumthor. The presence of the museum and how it weaves into the fabric of the surrounding conveys artfully the history, context, and meaning the Archdiocese put into their collection. One of Zumthor's earlier and maybe his most popular works is in Valls, Switzerland. It made him a household name in his homeland. Valls was originally a hotel built in the 1960s. After the financial downturn in the 1980s, it went bankrupt and was bought by the Valls community. Zumthor found his inspirations for this dynamic design in the water spontaneously appearing from the ground. The language he used was the idea of a quarry-like structure carving out the hillside. Using gneiss, rock formed by a high-grade metamorphic process, Zumthor guides you through a spot by creating tones. He uses light and space to pull you from one space to the other. A visitor may explore at their leisure and impulsive behest. The stone used from a local quarry laid with the same color mortar creates flush walls that enhance the spatial ambiance. The embodiment of a monolithic building achieved by blurred butt joints among the stone slabs is also achieved by a sophisticated system of stones varying in thickness and length. This system became known as the stone coarse layering scheme. There are baths on the upper and lower levels with light filtered in from the top on the lower levels and at the bottom on the upper levels. Light is used more to create shadows than to mark your path. It is the inverse mood, as if you were in a dungeon and torches lit your way, rushing from one light to the next. Instead, it is the seduction of the next hideaway that moves you through the space. Architecture is a spatial art, as people always say, but architecture is also a temporal art. Zumthor advocates being able to envision the movement of life through a space, understanding the movement and the need for it. In fact, designing the mood one is in. That is fine art. Like other great architects as Louis Kahn, and embodying architectural movements as monumentalism, Peter Zumthor's designs create a presence and a mood that speaks to the senses more than our intellect. Zumthor has this quote up in his offices: "Radical diatonism, forceful and distinctive rhythmical pronunciation, melodic clarity, harmonies plain and severe, a piercing radiance of tone color, and finally the simplicity and transparency of his musical fabric, the stability of his formal structures." What it tells me is something about atmosphere. The composer's music has that quality too, the ability to touch us, to touch me, within seconds of listening. But what it also tells me is that a great deal of work has gone into it, and I find that consoling. The idea that the task of creating architectural atmosphere also comes down to craft and graph. Processes and interests, instruments and tools are all part and parcel of my work.